The Eagles did exactly what they needed to do against the Green Bay Packers, and now they will. AQ, what excites you most about this matchup?
What excites me most is the matchup between Philadelphia's offensive line versus this young Rams defensive line. It was a great matchup the first time they played. Philly ran away with it in the end, obviously. But this Jared Verse guy, the more and more I watch him, he is an absolute stud. The first game against Philly, he put Big Jordan Mailata on his ass in one of the most impressive long-arm bull rushes I've ever seen. So I'm excited to see that matchup again. But listen, when you look at this Rams defensive line, they show 9 sacks against a Minnesota Vikings team that was 14-3 in the regular season. 9 sacks. They absolutely dominated the game. Coach Shula called an unreal game. And I think this LA team goes in and beats Philadelphia. I really do.
Wow.
I'm excited to watch that matchup, but I'm excited to watch LA and this Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay coach team walk in there and walk out getting booed to all hell with a win.
I mean, what were the sacks about? Were the sacks about relentless pressure? Were the sacks about Darnold holding on to the ball the whole night? It just seemed like every time.
Then he starts to roll, and then boom, relentless pressure, and you get the sack.
Yeah, I'll also say that this Philadelphia offensive line, slightly better than the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. The Rams showed that they are dangerous on both sides of the ball last week. I mean, Matthew Stafford had a hot start. Looked like they were going to score 30 or 40 points. Where will they challenge the Eagles the most?
I don't know. Balance, I guess, will be the biggest challenge. They got to try to run the ball. But, you know, the Eagles play great run defense. They got those 2 mountains in their defensive tackle. They're sound in the running game. They don't have to load up the box to stop the run. They have good coverage on the outside with Quinyon Mitchell and Slay. They got a good nickel of Cooper DeJean. I don't know where their weakness is. It's going to be a trouble. I don't know what AQ is on right now, but I don't see how the Rams move the ball that effectively against this defense. The problem with the Rams offense, I believe, is they don't have any speed. You know, Puka is about a 4.6 guy. Cooper Kupp has lost a step or two. So they're a ball control type team. A lot of screens on the perimeter, a lot of quick game, a lot of boots. In order for that to work, you got to have the lead or be in the lead or be in positive down and distances. That'll be the challenge because we know last time Saquon's still running for yards against the Ram defense. He had 255, 270-yard touchdown runs. So if the Eagles get ahead, then this will be a blowout. But if they could keep it close and play good ball control offense, eat up the clock like a lot of teams have to do, then they'll have a chance. But I just don't think they can match up against this Eagles football team.
Yeah, that's a great point. When I watch the Eagles play, that's what jumps off the tape to me on defense, especially is speed. Zach Bond flying around everywhere, the secondary flying around everywhere. That front is very athletic. I think you bring up a great point right there. When you look at the Rams, it's like, who's going to outrun anybody? They're going to have to play methodical the entire way. But switching to you, Justin, the Eagles won, but it definitely wasn't pretty. Is that cause for concern? Or proof that the Eagles can win in a bunch of different ways?
It's proof that the Eagles have the most talented team in football, and they don't have to play their best game. I mean, you have your receiver reading a book on the sidelines and just creating a mockery of this. Saquon Barkley probably could have broke one to blow that game out towards the end. They did lose their starting linebacker and one of their leaders, Nakobe Dean. He's got a patellar tendon injury. I think he definitely is going to be out for this game. You look at Zach Bond. He's an all-pro this year, but he missed some tackles. So I think if there's an area of the field work in the middle of the field, running right downhill at this Eagles defense. And that really is the key to this one for me. It's can the Rams offensive line hold up and actually be the bully to the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front seven. And that's where no one's done that yet. But Kyron Williams runs angry. He runs behind his pads. They run that duo scheme. Jalen Carter's always jumping out of gaps. So I think that they can find some creases in this Eagles defense. And then again, you look at Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. And Colt, that's probably a good point for you to jump in. I think you're taking Matthew Stafford in that matchup all day long. The Eagles have to find some rhythm in the passing game because if they get down in the game, I'm not very confident in what Jalen Hurts can do. And then lastly, if this game comes down to a field goal, I have no confidence in Jake Elliott. Missed an extra point in this game. He missed some long field goals early on in this season. The fans have booed him when I was there in attendance. His confidence is very, very low. Playoffs come down to a big kick at the end of the game. Look at Zane Gonzalez. He doinks one in and gets Commanders on to the next round. I'm not sure if it comes down to that kick for Philadelphia, if Jake Elliott's going to hit that big kick.
Yeah, that's some good points there. One of the things I like about the Rams is they faced a ton of adversity this year. It wasn't pretty for them. You look back early in the season, they lost 41-10 in Arizona. They bounced around, won a few close games. I mean, they just seem to have gotten hot, and they won in different ways. They went to the Jets and threw the ball, I think, 17 times and won that game in a cold, windy afternoon at MetLife. That plays into the Rams' strength a little bit, and that they've been through a bunch this season. If you look at Matthew Stafford versus, right, there's a lot of people that think this may be his last shot at it. I don't think that's the case, but they have a good football team. They're playing well at the right time. He can rely on his defense. And if Stafford goes in there and doesn't turn the ball over, the Rams will always have a chance. And so I think that's definitely something to watch. AQ, Saquon Barkley. I mean, listen, you can go back to the game that Philly played the Rams earlier. He had like 2 70-yard runs. He broke off a ton of explosive plays. He had 40 or 50 yards receiving, like almost 300 yards of total offense. So if you're the Rams, do you try to just go all in and shut him down and dare Jalen Hurts to beat you? Like, what's the plan?
It's 100% the plan. You have to stop him. You have to stop him. Again, that's the whole reason why I'm all in on the Rams versus this game, is the fact that I am not a believer in Jalen Hurts. I just don't think he is capable of winning the game if it comes down to him over Matthew Stafford. Whenever he's forced out of the pocket, I think he's constantly always throwing the ball out of bounds. He's always inaccurate whenever you can force him off the spot. Sure, if he's sitting back there in 7-on-7, he's going to look good just like any quarterback in the NFL, right? But the goal of this game is you got to slow this running game down and make him beat you. Because in that first game when he ran for almost 300 yards, I mean, they ran the same play over and over again. It was literally counter lead to the tight end, get the down block, you pull the backside guard, you get the second wrapper and split it. Oh, by the way, the play that he was about to split it against Green Bay when he took the little slide at the end, same exact play. That is their bread and butter. That is what they want to do. You have to be able to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, good luck stopping Saquon Barkley, and I'll give Jalen Hurts his flowers, man. Listen, he's a little bit rusty and he's easy to pick on sometimes when you look at this offense. But at the end of the day, this group figures out ways to win. When it's time to make plays, he does. It'll be much needed this week going against the Rams and this defense. And we need you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for all the support. We pushed right through 13,000 subscribers. We want to get to 20,000. So continue to watch this show and get all your playoff updates. We're right here every single week. Jay, the Eagles made Jordan Love's life tough. I mean, tough. 3 picks. How do they challenge opposing quarterbacks, and what will Stafford have to do well this week to move the ball up and down the field and score points?
Coach Fangio does a very good job with his coverage intent and disguises. They're sound in what they do. They rush the passer with 4 guys. They don't have to bring a lot of heat to get pressure. That's a key element for the Philadelphia Eagle defense. They get good pressure up the middle. They got enough speed on the outside to get home. And like I said before, they can stop the run with light boxes. They don't have to bring safeties down, though they can, but they don't have to stop the run. Now, that could change against the Rams offense, who runs the ball extremely well, like we mentioned. But the Eagles are just very good at every position. They don't really have a weakness. Their corner play is excellent. The safety play is solid. The defensive front is very good. Maybe the edge pressure is probably a little below average, but that's nitpicking. But I just think they're very good at every position on defense and sound at what they do. Vic Fangio is a very good coordinator, been doing this a very long time.
AQ mentioned this earlier, and I think this is the number one key to this game. It's this young Rams defensive core, the defensive front versus that veteran Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. Jared Verse goes out there and just plays with reckless abandonment. They say it's a young man's game. Watch Jared Verse play football and they'll show you why. He throws his body around. He doesn't care. He uses his body as a weapon. If he did that outside of football, they lock him up in 48 of the 50 states. You know, Alaska, you can get away with anything. And Texas, where Colt's at, you know, you're good there too. But I think they are going to play with so much passion up front. But the Philadelphia Eagles are probably the best offensive line in football, them in Detroit. That is a key matchup. And then it comes down to quarterback play. Who is going to make that big mistake? The one thing Jalen Hurts has done from the beginning of this season until now, he's limited the mistakes. He hasn't turned the ball over in crucial times. And Jay, you always tell us, Coach, turnovers, third down, red zone efficiency. He's been better in those areas. Matthew Stafford, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That dynamic is going to be the telling factor of this game. Because if the Eagles can't run, it's falling on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. And can he make those plays? Because we know Matthew Stafford will for the Rams.
What do you think about the Rams situation right now with the fires out in California? Thoughts and prayers out to everybody who's affected in that horrible tragedy. But do the Rams stay in Arizona? How does this affect their families, the coaches, the team as they travel over to Philly? Like, does anybody know what their situation is right now?
I got a little Schefter breaking news here. I hit the cell phone. The Rams went back to LA. They didn't stay in Arizona. So the Rams are back in LA. Well, what's happening in California right now is awful. And we just want to give our thoughts and our well wishes out to them.
Yeah, and shout out the Rams for just circling the wagons, and that's a big emotional weight that you got to carry, and that's heavy. And the way that they came out and played in Arizona, the way the NFL handled it, the way Bidwell handled it with the Cardinals, I thought was absolutely first class. Again, thoughts and prayers out to all of the Rams and the staff and everybody in California who's dealt with that tragedy.
This episode of Clean Pocket is sponsored by Roe. We all know the best gifts are experiences, especially for romantic holidays like Valentine's Day. Chocolates, stuffed animals, and flowers are overrated. What your partner really wants is real romance and great sex. Rose Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for stronger, harder erections. They hit the bloodstream faster because they dissolve under the tongue. After they've dissolved, they work in 15 minutes on average. Roe connects guys with a medical provider 100% online, so there's no awkward conversation with in-person providers. Be ready for play with Rose Sparks. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/pocket to find out if prescription Rose Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/pocket for $15 off your first order.
All right, let's jump into some game picks. Let's go around the horn here. Justin, I'll start with you. Who do you have in this game?
Philadelphia Eagles, most talented team right now in the NFL, top to bottom. Yes, Nakobe Dean's out. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Jay, you remember that name, the old NFC East clash. His father was a stud. They're going to let Axeman Jr. come in there, fill in for Nakobe Dean. They're just better everywhere. A.J. Brown, just play football for 1 week. Don't read a book. Don't yell at Jalen Hurts, and they will win this game.
AQ?
I got the LA Rams. This is a wild pick, but I am McVay's going to win the coaching matchup. I think the young D-lines learned from their first time. They're going to do a great job scheming it up and stopping the run and forcing Jalen to win, and it ain't going to happen.
The one thing Sean could do, he could frustrate the hell out of you. I mean, they can have some 15-play drives, eat up like 8 minutes, and it would make Eagles panic a little bit. They stop Saquon, and Jalen Hurts drops back and throws it out of bounds, and Sirianni goes for it on 4th and 10. No good. Rams will lose to the Eagles. Eagles win.
What is your problem?
Get Jay Gruden
on the
game
Eagle
day.
Offensive line and Saquon Barkley's too much. I know the Rams have a lot of pride, and they're going to watch this film and say, we gave up 255 yards of this guy last time, almost 300 total yards from scrimmage. These guys will be foaming at the mouth getting Saquon on the ground. Problem is, easier said than done. He'll still have about 150 this week.
I'm with AQ here, boys. I think the Rams go into Philly and knock off the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are great. They're very talented. They're a good football team. They fly around. But I like Sean McVay. I like the competitor of Matthew Stafford. I like this football team, and they're playing really good. They got a lot to play for, and I think they go up to Philly and figure out a way to win this football game and upset the Philadelphia Eagles.
In football, every game means more during the playoffs, and you can start your own personal playoffs on Underdog, where you could cash in on touchdowns, interceptions, yards, or more. All you have to do is pick higher or lower, and you could take home up to 1,000 times your money if you get your picks right. It's that simple. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making picks. Sign up for Underdog today using promo code POCKET, capital P-O-C-K-E-T, and you'll get a free pick as a part of your first cash entry plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that's promo code POCKET.